Hey guys, I'm Janet, on occasion, and today we're playing another Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay. So a bit of a story first. So I played a guy on ladder, I don't know, a couple of days ago, and I brought this Skaven army against his von Carstein army, and I just cleaned up. So I thought, maybe this is actually a really good build. I just sort of brought whatever. Yeah, I wasn't playing very seriously, but it worked really well. And then I started thinking about it, and actually, yeah, there is a lot here that works very well. So, front line of clan rats of shields. I'll bring the shields not for the missile resist, but for the extra melee defense that it offers. That's not, a thing that shields do, but units with shields tend to have higher melee defense than their unshielded counterparts, which makes sense. So, got them in the front line, and they're still dirt cheap. Also, I've got a couple of plague monks. They're just good anti-infantry, which is always fun. And but within these units, I've got Lord Skrolk, who's obviously got I want to say Rod of Corruption. That's not right, is it? Whatever it is, that AoE damage he's got, which is really good because any ethereal units are going to get really hurt by that, and honestly anything else is going to get really hurt by that. So it's very deadly. So that's really good. Another AoE damage from the Plague Priest, because the Plague Priest, it's got that sort of Mortis Engine effect, so it's going to be damaging things nearby. And also the Warlock Engineer is going to be doing the same. So it means that there's just consistent damage with the heroes throughout the front line that is pretty devastating. So it really helps your front line sort of weather the storm somewhat. So it's pretty cool. And obviously with the Plague Priest and Lord Skrolk, you can just summon way more Plague Monks and Clan Rats, sort of, behind the lines, help, damage their leadership, start the units crumbling, which is really good. The Rat Ogres, they're really good for screening out things like Black Knights, which would otherwise just cleave through your infantry for, pretty cheap, to be honest. So Rat Ogres, very useful there. They're also good for sort of, mobbing, sort of corpse carts and mortis engines and things. They're very useful. And for screening out, well, basically, cavalry, but yeah, they've also got armor piercing, which is good against Graveguard. But honestly, Blood Knights will completely destroy them. They have no hope against Blood Knights. Blood Knights will just win, like, without taking a scratch. It's terrifying how good they are against Rat Ogres. So, but still, always bring a couple of Rat Ogres, I think. They're always useful. And then over here, for some reason, I put my Warp Lightning Cannon and these Skaven Slave Spears guarding it, sort of a bit away from my army. Because the first game we played, this was the second game, actually. The first game I played against Atticus, who I'm playing now, I won pretty handily. And then Gobbo King came to the rescue with some build advice. He's always great, he's always great value for advice on builds. So he came up with some good ideas for what the vampire counts could bring against Skaven, and this led to a very close fight. So that's what this is. So over here you can see I've got my usual gutter runners of poison and 2 night runners. I prefer having 2 night runners as well as the gutter runners of poison, because it's the same cost as having 2 gutter runners of poison, basically. So but I like being able to run off in more than one direction, So I think it helps. And the gutter runners will still net and poison stuff as they're coming, so they're useful. But here you can see Blood Knights coming in and Black Knights, so that's what he's got on that side. Over on the other side here, he's got a couple of units of Fellbats, very useful in this matchup. Also, he's got some Black Knights, they're taking Warp Lightning Cannon fire, which is doing a ton of damage. In the first game we played, Atticus brought, I think it was the Chillgeists, possibly just Hex Wraiths, but they lost half the unit to 1 volley from the Warp Lightning Cannon. It's just too dangerous bringing ethereal units in this matchup. It's devastating. So he hasn't this time around. So you'll see here, that's going to do a fair bit of damage. So yeah, whittles them down. Also here though, the Fellbats are going to be great. You just basically, you don't have to, really care about them. You just send them after artillery, because they're just going to bog them down enough to, ruin the effectiveness of the artillery. So you're going to lose value from the Warp Lightning Cannon if it's surrounded with bats. And here, where I've only got Skaven Slaves protecting it, it's gold. They're going to do great. So, okay, back up over here. So, obviously, fighting here. Trying to do some damage to the Blood Knights, trying to do some damage to the Black Knights, trying to get the Rat Ogres in here to screen with some backup with the Clan Rats. Over here, you can see his front line. He's got a couple of Spearmen, so that'll be useful for, dealing with, like, Rat Ogres. And it's just quite nice to have a couple of Spearmen, I find. Also, Graveguard in the front, so he's got 3 units of Graveguard, and he's got the Sternsman. So these guys will just slaughter basically anything in the front line. But they will take a lot of damage from all those extra AoE damaging things that I've brought. So pretty useful. Crypt Horrors here, not necessarily great against anything I've brought, but they are so great at penning things in, and they got armor piercing. So say I'd brought a Doom Wheel, which, let's be honest, very popular pick right now. The Crypt Horrors could get on that, surround it, and kill it, which is great. So, really good to have 1 unit Crypt Horrors at least. And here, Vlad, obviously you just, absolute beast in melee, and with the von Carstein ring, he can actually negate a lot of the damage from Liber Bubonicus, which is huge. So if you time it right, Liber Bubonicus loses all its potency. And that is, you know, a huge Lord killer. So, yeah, having a Lord that, you know, could potentially be immune to that is huge. And here, though, I think this is the MVP. Honestly, the Claw and a Gash, absolutely fantastic. Because it's got that chilling effect, it means that rats, once they break, they can't run away as well. And because it causes terror, that's going to happen more. So they're going to get chopped down more, you know, before they can escape. So they're going to come back with weaker numbers, which is really good, because obviously Skaven are going to break, you know, time and time again. But they'll come back with less strength each time, and they'll just get terror outed again as soon as they're near it. And obviously the perpetual damage, you know, aura is going to be great. The perpetual healing aura is going to be great to negate the perpetual damaging aura that I've got, so it helps even it out. So Claw and a Gash, really good here. And you think, oh, but it's, you know, it's ethereal, isn't it? Right? You know, it's not a good idea. It's going to get killed by the Warp Lightning Cannon. No, Claw and a Gash got 25% magic resistance, so it will shrug off a lot of the damage. So, really good. Really good pick, I think. Claw and a Gash, essential in this matchup. So, let's speed things up. I've been going far too long about this. So, in the back line here, you can see a bit of a mess. So I've tried to single out the Blood Knights with all my skirmishers, just to do some damage to them. I need to do as much damage to them as possible, because I don't have a good answer for them, really. Over on this side, though, you see the Black Knights. They're just going to get wrecked by the Rat Ogres. The Rat Ogres will have no problem fighting Black Knights. As you can see, it's not good for them. And, yeah, I mean, how many kills these guys got? 4. So, yeah, Rat Ogres win. Over on this side, though, obviously my Skaven Slaves are no match. You know, the Black Knights have got in now. This whole blob is gone. I've lost a lot of value there. Amazingly, they are still shooting, which is quite impressive. But now the Blood Knights are in, it's all over. It's all over. So, and what did they lose? Half a unit of Black Knights, and their bat's got a bit damaged. And that's to take out a Warp Lightning Cannon. That is such good value for him. So here I'm bringing my skirmishers back in. I've got my Rat Ogre sort of lying in wait here. And the front line is starting to engage, so you can see, you know, this perpetual aura of damage coming in on both our sides is very dangerous. Skrolk is in here, you know, getting singled out by the Mortis Engine. The Plague Monks are fighting Graveguard, so that's very tough. But you can see here, doing a ton of damage to the Crypt Horrors. The Crypt Horrors are not having fun in this fight, and I can't really tell what it is that's really screwing them over here. Honestly, I have no idea how they're getting so destroyed. So anyway, summoning in more rats. The more the merrier. That's my motto. And I think Skrolk's, yeah, except he's talking about more diseases. He's a weird guy, this Skrolk. Anyway, so Rat Ogre's here fighting Spearmen. Not great, but with the backup of Plague Monks, I'll just be able to wrap this up nice and quickly. You can see all this, like, you know, crazy effect here. That's all my damaging aura caused by the Warpstone armor, or the Warlock Engineer. Oh, also, must point out, the Warlock Engineer, he's been stripped down completely. He's just got the Warpstone armor, and he's got Howling Warp Gale. So if he brought Manfred, or something, you know, any Lord in the air, then I can just use Howling Warp Gale on him, and then shoot him with cannons, which is great. So, you know, keeping them out of the fight is vital. So, having just, you know, one spell that can deal with that is great. So, nice Pestilent Breath here, which is nice free action that the Plague Furnace gets, which is awesome. So you can see these Crypt Horrors still fighting, despite the fact they're crumbling. So I've got some summoned Plague Monks in here, but generally my front line is in tatters. And now there's cavalry all in my back line. This flank completely crumbled. There's only clan rats against the Sternsmen and Spearmen. That was never going to work. Luckily, I do have some slaves to come fight them. I'm sure that'll work out great for me. So here, Blood Knights coming in. If they turn around and go for the Rat Ogres are finished. They don't match up even remotely. The Rat Ogres get completely ruined by the Blood Knights. So here, I got my heroes in here, so hopefully I can get this Claw and a Gash out of the way. At least that's what I'm going to try and do. So zombies have been summoned in to bog me down. They're still very healthy unit of Graveguard, well, healthy-ish, but Sternsman basically on full health. That's very dangerous. Over on this side, amazingly, my Warlock Engineer has run away with half health. That's pretty typical of them. But, you know, here, Blood Knights are coming in, they can do a ton of damage to the Rat Ogres. The Plague Monks, they're anti-infantry, they're not going to do much damage to them. So it's pretty rough, honestly. So here, I'm actually charging my Gutter Runners in here, trying to break these guys quicker. But it's tough, it's very tough, honestly. This is not a good matchup. And yeah, my Plague Monks and my Rat Ogres are going to get finished by these Blood Knights, who, yep, getting healed up again. These guys are so vital. I've got no answer to them anymore. You know, I'd love to hit with artillery, but I don't have any. So over on this side, so I've been using Liber Bonicus on Vlad von Carstein, but that's about the only thing that's been doing any damage, so he's just been healing through it. Yeah, Rod of Corruption is the Rod of Corruption. So yeah, the Rod of Corruption is doing some damage, which is great with so much fodder around. That will actually do a ton of hurt. So it's very good, honestly. The Rod of Corruption I really like in this matchup. I like it in all matchups, to be honest. It's just very deadly. So, and Skrolk's surprisingly hard to kill, as you can see. He's been pretty, you know, messed up in this fight for a long time. So I'm bringing the Rat Ogres in here to try and help. These Black Knights are amazingly still going. And you can see I'm trying to get units out, you know, but it's tough. And here you can see the Mortis Engine is hitting the Gutter Runners of Poison now. I just need to get rid of this Claw and Gash really badly. Because, yeah, it's going to be doing a world of hurt. So here, I'm getting some Plague Monks in to deal with Vlad. And honestly, I think that's good for me, because that anti-infantry, it means they will be hitting Vlad. Vlad is nearing his healing cap, and it keeps him out of this fight, which means I can single out the Claw and Gash, and yeah, Skrolk isn't going to get singled out by Vlad, so this works well for me. And I got some Rat Ogres coming back in, so that's something. I've got the odd unit dotted around. Up on the top here, these guys need to be brought back a lot quicker. I was very sloppy leaving them on the top of the hill for a while, because that Warlock Engineer would be vital in here to get rid of all this fodder. And like the Sternsmen, yeah, there they are, still basically full health. They are doing absolutely fine. I've got no answers to that. And now the Plague Priest is running away, so I'm not going to have that, you know, Mortis Engine effect going and damaging everything nearby anymore, because he's running away. So that is really rough for me. So now it's just Skrolk basically on his own in here. I mean, the Rat Ogres are here, but what good are they going to do against all of this? And you got to remember, Blood Knights will just mess them up. So I'm trying to bring guys back. Another thing, at this point of the game, obviously the Mortis Engine isn't going anymore, but while he was, and you know, I didn't have many units, every time I was spawning a unit, they'd only fight for about 5-10 seconds, and then be terrified, because there were just so many things debuffing their leadership, you know, the damage on them, and, you know, terror, and the fact they had strong units nearby. It didn't take long to break them. Clan Rats cannot hold up, you know, against these odds, basically, they'll just flee. So it's very scary, so I'm constantly bringing in reinforcements, but they run away so quickly that I can't really rely on them. So here you can see my Warlock Engineer has been trying to get back in, but he's blocking me with the Blood Knights. So now I'm only getting that Warpstone Armor effect on the Blood Knights, and not all of this. So Skrolk basically on his own in here. I'm trying to bring units back. Yep, Plague Priest is coming back, so I'll have the Plague Furnace back in here soon, hopefully. But on this side, you know, I've got some guys that have come back trying to whittle away, but they're just stuck on zombies. So, fantastic. Rod of Corruption comes down here and actually really helps to, you know, start crumbling these units. So, Skeleton Spearmen are now crumbling, Graveguard are now crumbling. Unfortunately, Sternsmen are still happy as Larry. And Vlad in here fighting Skrolk is not good for Skrolk. If I had another Liber Bubonicus to put on him, maybe that would be good, but I'm pretty sure I've used both of them. Both on Vlad, and he's still got a lot of health. And he is tough. So now I'm coming with the Warlock Engineer. That will start doing some air effect damage, which is great. That's going to be great for whittling down the Sternsmen. And if the Plague Priest can come back in here as well, that'll be a huge help as well, because that'll just be, you know, two things doing constant damage. Unfortunately, though, I've barely got anything left. Yeah, it basically seems like I've had it. So, yeah, so basically I think MVPs, Blood Knights, basically because I used my cannon really stupidly. Given how the first game went, you know, I wasn't being particularly careful. But with this build, with these units, it's fantastic. Vampire counts can definitely do well against Skaven, and I think this match proves it. You just got to make sure you bring the right units. And I think Claw and Gash is a great unit to bring. I think Vlad is the perfect pick, because, you know, given how much sort of, how much they rely on their lord. Because, you know, vampire counts, you kill their lord, you basically win, right? It's just a huge sort of, it's just a huge loss to lose your lord. So Liber Bubonicus, which is basically designed for just killing lords, you know, just it's basically like an overpowered spirit leech that you get for free. I mean, what's not to love about that? So, you know, you bring that and you think you're going to win against vampire counts. But with Vlad, he can just tank so much damage. And with the Von Carstein ring, and like all the healing he's got, he can negate so much damage from the Liber Bubonicus and then just heal through anything else without much of a problem. So, you know, I was hitting him with everything I had, but couldn't kill him. So, very impressive. I think he's definitely the best pick in this matchup. Definitely. So, very fun. Another thing, though, that I think is great against Skaven, which Atticus didn't bring here, are White Kings. Because White Kings are actually really good. They have that new item, Scabscrath, which is a sword they have, which gives them a breath attack. And that basically does 0 damage against anything with armor. But against Skaven, it cleans up. If you have a couple of White Kings, you can basically just destroy the entire front line in the first, you know, just in the initial engagement. You can just do one scab scratch going one way, one going the other, and they'll each have like 100 kills. And that is usually enough to rout the front line, and then you can just surround the heroes with Graveguard and you're fine, you know. So yeah, I think White Kings are very good in this matchup. Definitely worthwhile, because they are very hard to kill as well. Yeah, they're fairly heavily armoured. You can't just throw trash at them. You got to throw, you know, your heroes at them. But of course, they're melee fighters, so you know, they're going to hold off pretty well. So definitely a good pick, I think. On foot, just in your front line, pretty cheap, but they will get a lot of kills. So what you could do is actually trade out some of the Graveguard for Skeleton Spearmen, and because you don't necessarily need the best front line, you know, you don't need all the Graveguard, though they did perform brilliantly in this fight. You don't necessarily need to rely on Graveguard if you have, you know, those breath attacks, I think, to kill the front line nice and quickly. And yeah, with the Terror as a Chlorina Gash, you know, ever present, it's deadly. So there are definitely tools that the Vampire Counts have got. And yeah, just the Blood Knights, I think, they're very hard to kill. You know, you need to have either a lot of Clan Rat Spears just to try and keep them bogged down the whole fight, or you need to hit them with spells. I don't know what spells would be great for it, to be honest. But yeah, it's tough. Honestly, Blood Knights, fantastic in this matchup, because they are just so hard to kill. So I think it's definitely worthwhile, and also great counter for Doom Wheels. So yeah, I think Blood Knights really good, and Chlorina Gash is really good. I think White Kings would have been a good pick. Black Knights can do pretty well against the infantry, but I think they're too easily caught out by Rat Ogres, because they just get dumpstered by Rat Ogres. I mean, look at that, 10 kills for the one that got caught at the start. So it's pretty rough. I'm not sure, really, about the Black Knights. Yeah, I think I'd have to see them in action a bit more. I think if you can keep away from certain targets, they can do some great damage doing, you know, rear charges and stuff. So could be fun, could be fun. But yeah, if you look at my side, like, you know, none of my front line really performed particularly well. But, you know, load of kills with the Plague Priest, you know, Skrolk got some kills, but all those damaging auras would have done a ton of damage. And really, I think you need to rely on just doing as much damage to units. Just spread the damage out, and stuff will start crumbling, and that's where the kills come from. It's stuff crumbling rather than your rats actually killing anything. So that's kind of how I see it. But look at that, 18 kills. They got caught out by Blood Knights. So yeah, Blood Knights are pretty great. But yeah, it's pretty fun. So guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.